Hello and welcome to the Cats and Books Club podcast. I'm Izzy.
And I'm Aaron.
Let's go ahead and just do a really quick, different cat update from the first cat update.
Shit, yeah.
So far, okay, here's my cat update. Cleo is next to me right now. She was yowling down the hallway for some reason. Both of my cats have been yowling. If someone's an animal behaviorist, please tell me what's happening.
Well, I think that Pippin and Akila are both doing well, and they have liked having me home. I have been coming home a bit for lunches, so they've really enjoyed having me at home for lunch.
They're like, yay, feed us more food.
No, they do not get more food.
Well, I can start off as a...
Yeah, go ahead and start us off.
Yeah.
We were halfway through Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. I had forgotten to finish the introduction. I got distracted.
Oh, no, you're fine. Well, see, the first point, actually, Izza, that you have here, and it's something that we've discussed a lot with Sarah J. Maas and this particular series, with the amount of just brutal violence that happens in these books. Izzy, you have a highlight here that says, is the moral of this story that violence is the only way that anything changes?
Because it does kind of seem like most of the books, the moral is, without violence, you will be dominated and your life will be ruined and everything will be taken from you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sure, you don't want to just let people take all your shit, obviously. That's not fair, not something you want. But it is interesting that, a lot of the book specifically is about suppressing others by having more power than they have.
Mm-hmm. And I
not
think...
really by, finding compromise, because in this case, there's not really a compromise to be had, but it kind of feels like there's... Or if not a compromise, because, you can't compromise being taken over.
I think, in a way, this series, in some ways, is very feminist, but in other ways, it's almost like she tried to make Selena kind of a badass hero, right?
Correct. The intention was strong female protagonist, which I like. She's strong, sure. She has super abilities. Tough, sure.
But I think she almost makes her swing too far the other way. There's not a whole lot of balance in Selena's character, from what I perceive.
Yeah, it's a lot of bloodthirst and then randomly trying to be normal. Which, I'm not saying that's exclusive, that they can't coexist in a person, but it has a hard time connecting the two selves. Mm-hmm. The archetypes that are trying to be filled by this character are kind of it's like she's trying to be too much.
Yes, and there's not a good balance, quite frankly, with, I would have to say...
what do you mean by balance, specifically?
When I mean balance, I mean... If you're going to do an archetype, or for example, the fantasy sort of she-hero badass, right? You have to give characters layers. Characters need layers in order to feel authentic on the page. And I think one of our complaints about this series is that a lot of the characters, there's just so many of them that none of them get the full attention that they really need to develop on the page. So instead of being...
it's too fast-paced, you don't get that much time with much of them before they're either flung across the world, killed, I don't know...
falling in love.
Something happens to them.
Yeah, I need, for me personally, when I read a book, I want to feel connected emotionally to the characters. And for me, I think this series just falls a little flat on that. I'm not saying it's a bad series. There's some really good parts in these series.
I like the action. The characters are mid for the most part for me.
Yeah, they're mid. Like, I feel as if, honestly, I feel like the best developed character in the series.
You're like, you think all characters are mid except for Manon, which I think is fair, sure.
Yeah.
Manon is at least, like, somewhat different. I feel like Manon's a little, starts becoming too much like Selena.
I think that to a degree.
But I feel like I wish Selena was less like that, and then she left Manon being more like that.
Right. Like, again,
that would make sense.
Yes,
Selena's just random.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. Her character, it doesn't really make sense for her character to be like that. Mm-mm. Aside from, like, the cruelty and the trauma. Like, I get that, but also she's not really, like, a cruel... But, like, she's a bitch.
Yeah.
But, like, she's not...
She's not cruel.
Well, no, but she is cruel, though. No, she is.
Well...
She actually sucks. But so, it's like... Never mind, she does suck. No, I hate her as a character. Fuck. Manon is taught to be cruel, so it's normal.
Right.
And her sort of humanity comes as like, oh, well, that's nice. You know, you don't expect her to be compassionate because it's been sort of taught out of her. Mm-hmm. And Selena, it's also been taught out of her, but you kind of think, I mean, it makes me wonder, why... why it feels different for me now that, like between them.
Well, I think what happened is that Selena, honestly, on the page, to me, isn't as fully developed as Manon is. I feel like Manon, while she's not even the main character, she's a main player in the book, but she's not the main hero, you know? But I feel like Manon on the page is given so much further character development.
That's true.
I think that's why we like her. Right. I think that's why we like her so much. It's because we feel like we know her. We feel like we know
what
Manon.
I think... Sarah J. Maas got fucking sick of Selena. She started hating Selena. She started liking Manon more and was like, actually, you're secretly my new main character, but everyone's already married to the other one, so I can't actually do that here. So we're just gonna secretly give you a new main character. It's like, my old alliance is broken, and I told no one. And I know you're laughing because you would do this. You would fucking do this.
Hey, for those of you who don't know, I am writing a fantasy
Erin's
book.
writing her own fascinating fantasy romp. Look at any of her social medias for more information. It is there for sure.
Yes, we can link those below. But,
yes, Erin's writing a book. And Erin's alliances with her own characters shift with the winds.
I think it's because once you get it, and
Erin's
I don't know.
I'm sick of this character.
Look.
New favorite.
No way.
And I'm like, Erin, no more new characters. And you're like, but just this one. And I'm like, no. And then Erin's like, I hate all these new characters.
No. I think what happens is, and I don't even have as many characters as Sarah J. Maas. I have a core 5 set of characters and about 4 very important side characters.
Yes, but anyway.
And anyway.
So find out more about that. Erin should have her own podcast. Erin talks about her book. You can do it with this what you want.
But I think what it boils down to is that when you're going to have a fantasy series and you are going to have so many players that are coming in and out of this book that are important to the plot overall, you need to give them equal attention. I was just thinking the other day as we were recording.
Or less attention if they're not important.
Or less attention.
Don't introduce a whole character if it's just Joe Schmo taking a cart down the street. Like, I don't care who that is. I don't care if it's so-and-so's dad from down the road's bakery. Like, I don't care about no one cares. Don't tell me.
I think this, honestly, for me, like, one of the characters that I have a complaint about that she even brought back, and I'm still questioning, like, why did we need to bring her back? What is this? Excuse me, Lysandra. Why did Lysandra need to come back at all? Why 3 books later, this is a character you introduced in book 1, then you never talk about her again.
Like, literally never.
Now.
You mentioned once. You might as well have just made a new fucking character.
I mean, it seems just a little, I don't know. There's just too much going on in the book, and I think what happens is, with this series in particular, and a lot of series actually that I've read that are popular in fantasy, is that you get too many players on the page. You don't narrow the cast.
And did we already talk about how we were annoyed about her weird, like, daughter thing not really doing anything for anyone? She just exists and is sort of carried around like a dog, like on a leash. Like, what the fuck is this?
Right, like there's this other character that's like, oh, there's this little girl that I'm
like,
taking
and I
care
saved
of.
you, and like the purpose of that is to be like, what a good heart. But it's like, who cares?
Why?
Why did you need to adopt a whole human to show that in a like the person? It doesn't matter. This person doesn't play a role. Like neither. And, like, even Lysandra, like, sort of plays a role, but not really.
Not really.
It's like, you introduce a whole other character to murder the one guy that Selena has the most beef with, and it's like, why would you give that to some random bitch we only found out about today?
Right. Like, why
so,
would
like,
you...
this whole...
I actually wanted to bring that up because, of course, about halfway into the about 3/4 of the way into the book,
so many complaints.
Robin is killed by Lysandra because Lysandra kind of lures him and is like, "Ooh, let's have a night together," and then, of course, she stabs him while he's sleeping. But again. Did we need, like you said, do we need Lysandra to do that? There were 3 other main characters that we're dealing with here.
That could have done that. There's just no way that he would have trusted her. There is no fucking reason for him to have let his guard down for her especially.
Absolutely.
That is bullshit. That whole thing is a cop-out, and I think... not impressed with that.
That was something, that was something that really bothered me. Not the fact that he was killed, because, let's be honest, we were waiting.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah,
we knew it was eventually. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, straight up. Like,
me too.
If she's so fucking good at murdering people... She can't even fucking take his bitch ass out and just, like, she could have fucking murdered him forever ago and taken all of his money.
And taken him out, exactly.
Like, she literally could have done this at any fucking time. Specifically when, well, maybe not, I don't know, but, like, why couldn't she have done it when she and fucking Sam were destitute and had to murder some bitch for a lot of money? She literally could have just faked his will then. And murdered him instead, and then taken his fucking money. Like, what is this?
Or, not only that, you have 2 Fae male soldiers at your bidding, basically, at your beck and call.
Yeah, and just, like, being able to falsify a will. That's bullshit. Bullshit. This would never happen.
Right.
This is so fake.
Like... Okay, now that I've brought up the 2 Fae males, I want to bring this up. Okay.
Alright, this is fucking complaining o'clock. We've lost all semblance of control.
I'm sorry, guys. No, actually, here's the control part here. So, again, we have our 2 main characters, right? We have Etienne.
Oh, yeah, here is the control part. Is this the next highlight?
Rowan, yes. Like, what is this? Okay, Etienne is, like, throwing shade. He's bragging about... Rowan, like, I don't know, they're both bragging about stuff. And then one of them, I'm pretty
remind
sure...
people who Etienne is, I forgot.
Etienne is her cousin.
I didn't forget.
Etienne is her cousin, and Rowan is the one that she's, like, mated to.
Yes, so her her new sort of elf husband, Rowan, and her ex-betrothed weird cousin, Adian, who looks like her.
Yeah, that's the other kind of... Anyway.
Are
Okay.
fighting over her in such a cute, savage love triangle, and they're all so full of testosterone.
And one of them is like bragging about... I'm sorry. About, I stabbed someone with a table leg in the old fighting days. Like...
I don't remember that, but that's fucking funny. I stabbed someone with the rusty pole that I got from my backyard.
Like, what is this? Anyway.
Well, I stabbed 5 guys on the same pole.
So, anyway.
And by that, I mean my dick.
This is another thing, actually interesting, is that you brought up. It's in one of our highlighted notes here. You know, when Rowan and Selena and Edian are kind of talking about when they take back over the throne, what their court is going to look like. And they kind of mention something like obedience and blind order to Selena. And it seems kind of like you say in our notes, like it's a little... That's not what you want a court to look like either. You don't just want someone blindly following a leader around, because that's what the kingdom has right now. And obviously that isn't working. You know?
Right. This is just... I'm trying to think because... Yeah, it's like, oh, don't worry, we can just kill them and then that solves the problem. Don't worry, aren't we lucky? I know who to kill to solve this problem.
Yeah, it's just... And the ending, guys, we're kind of like sliding into the ending here, but there's a lot that happens in this ending. Oh, Lord.
Okay, so Aaron... Here's a scene we both wanted to talk about, because it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what it was for, you don't know what it was for, and it's a scene where they're trying to take down the towers, the clock towers, because that apparently releases magic.
The magic, yes.
But then there's like, at some point, Selena and Rowan are like... together, and then Rowan gets mad and forces her to play the piano.
Yeah,
and I don't
really
understand it, and I want Aaron to tell us about it. Let's relive this for a second.
I don't really...
Can you pull it up on, man, I wish I had the paper book or like a Kindle so I could get that scene.
I think what he was, in my viewing of it, what I saw it as was Rowan, he kind of likes to push her to do things, kind of like with the really stupid fight that happened on the ice way back in in Heir of Fire. It's okay. Again, like in my
so
opinion,
like bullying is part of the dynamic.
Yes,
which
it's
is
like
true.
It's like I'm gonna with her playing piano too is, you know, kind of symbolic of the time when she was with Sam, and it's not something she's done really since he passed away.
Okay, all right.
So
okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, for me, that's how I took that, as him being like, no, you should play the piano. Get over your grief. That's how I took it.
Okay.
And, okay, I wanted to bring this up too, with Lysandra specifically. So, first off, you introduce Lysandra in book 1, and then you never mention her again until now. 2, Lysandra's a shapeshifter, and we didn't know that this whole time, and you're just now throwing that out there. Do you see what I mean? It's just...
Yes, exactly. The retroactively here? Adding Lysandra's backstory is dumb and annoying. Adding her at all was a mistake.
Yes.
She's getting in the way of a bunch of crap.
Yes.
She doesn't need to be there. She doesn't need to exist just so that freaking Adian can have someone to end up with. No one cares.
Yeah, that's
Adian
how I
can stay
felt.
single.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to have someone.
Right. I feel like it was just like, oh, she is like into Eddie and she thinks he's cute.
And she's a slut, so you know it'll work out well, because he's also a slut.
What? Okay, I wanted to bring this up too. Way back when Edian was first
We're pro-slut,
introduced.
just in case anyone's wondering.
Well, no.
I'm not saying that disparagingly. I'm saying that empoweringly. Because fuck yeah, but also doesn't need to be. Anyway, okay.
Remember when Edian was introduced? And one of the first things they say about Edian is that he was known as like the whore of like some street. I don't remember. But basically that he was known as a man for, sleeping around and stuff. But we never see evidence of that.
He literally didn't bang even one fucking time.
He's never had sex with anybody, and I'm just like, okay, look, if you're gonna make a character be known as the whore of whatever, like...
Literally, Kale got laid 10,000 times more, apparently.
Like, what is this?
Than the supposed whore of the fucking kingdom or whatever the hell.
Yes, and I'm just like, guys, like...
Kale had a fucking side chick secretly the whole time, like, okay.
Like, what is this?
Whatever.
Yeah, it's just, again, if you're going to use tropes in your book, which I'm completely fine with. I read romance books all the time that use very popular tropes. But the tropes, you have to do two things with tropes. One, you have to make them your own, right? You have to make them different. You have to make them your own. Two, they have to live up to the stereotype or archetype that you are trying to portray. Like if you're going to put a supposed bad boy in your book and then he doesn't deliver.
And he never fucks. What are we supposed to believe?
Right. You lose readers because you aren't giving what
Snoozeville.
was promised. Yes. So, that's my thoughts on that. Also, okay, we're kind of going through our notes here. So, they did catch one of the Valgs to question him.
This scene's fucking bullshit.
This scene, I agree. So we have this demon that is living inside of a real life man. Like the man cannot help that he is being possessed, just like Prince Dorian could not help that he was being possessed by a Valg prince. Right. And they're like torturing him and they're stabbing him.
Right, they're just torturing
and I'm like,
a man, not really giving a single fuck or even considering that there's another guy in there.
Right.
Who also has to have his fingers like cut off with shit, and like that's bullshit. And they're just like, yeah, fuck that Valg. And it's like, there's a guy in there.
Right. And it just, I don't know.
And they're like torturing it, asking it questions.
Yeah.
Like, and then after they torture information out of him, they kill him.
Yep.
So they torture him. He says, "Don't kill me. Here's information." There are two guys in there. Mm-hmm. And they kill both of them. Mm-hmm. Without blinking a fucking eye. And it's like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. Like, you're having this whole conflict in your heart about, should I kill Dorian or not? And then when it comes to Joe Schmo over here, could be your grandpa's cousin, just chilling. They didn't fucking want to be possessed by a Valg.
Right.
And you're just like, he's evil, though. He's a lost cause. Nah, he's not coming back from that. He's just all evil. Like, shut up. That's bullshit. Fake, cheap.
Yeah. And then that brings me to Dorian. Actually,
wait. Side
go
note,
ahead.
can
Go
I
ahead.
just mention how annoying the number of ASP references there are?
Number of what references?
Where it's like something like an asp. ASP,
Oh,
like a snake.
asp. Yes, asp. Yes.
Aspy waspy.
I'm sorry, guys. Okay, look. I do like the series to a degree. Would I put it in my top 10 books I've ever read? Probably not. Anyway,
It's entertaining. Like,
It's
things are
entertaining.
happening.
it's
I
entertaining.
just get mad a lot. I
Yeah.
got so mad. I got so mad from beginning to end. I was so mad.
It's something, guys. But anyway, we're going
Wait,
back.
are we talking about Robin getting murdered finally?
No, because we've
Or
already
is there
kind
something
of
else?
we already kind of talked about that. I'm going to when
Wait,
Dorian.
but I'm at the wait. What are you at?
I'm at when Dorian is asking Manon if he would kill her because he's like begging.
Oh,
He gets that. Remember, he kind of has times where he's slightly lucid.
are we talking about the witches now? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
No, you're okay. You're good. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
This book
so-
was quite a chunk, and our notes are
Well, it keeps going back and forth
Also
too, and then
chunk.
this thing happens, and then it goes back to the other witches, and then goes back to Selena, and then I don't. So we find out Roland is a demon.
Yeah, Roland, the cousin, he's not a demon. He's being possessed by the
Whose
Baal.
cousin is that again?
That's Prince Dorian's cousin.
Okay, and Roland is the guy who is a Leeds like
No.
guy.
No.
Oh, I don't remember who Roland is.
Roland
Wait,
is-
who's the guy? Who's the Leeds
Roland
guy?
is hold on. Roland is Prince Dorian's cousin, and he again another minor character that quite frankly could have been cut out of the entire series because he ends up dying on the page
Useless.
because he's possessed by a Valg, and the Valg like basically kills him because he's I mean, once the Valg possess these men, it basically deteriorates them because they're not.
Well, that's what
you
the
know.
no, but not really, because Dorian came out of it.
Yeah, but Dorian has magic though, and I would
Yeah,
say
but still,
I
it
would
like
say he's a bit
ethically, it's
stronger.
like torturing someone who's in a vegetative state,
Yeah, basically.
which is still ethically bad.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty bad. So anyway, Dorian has like a moment of clarity. Like the king is getting all the witches together, and he is, ordering them around basically still. And Manon's getting really pissed off because she's like, "You're not going to tell me, like, you're not going to order us around so that we can make Valg witch babies for you because I find that deplorable." Is basically what is going on in her mind at that point. And when the king keeps asking her, he's like, "Well, I want it to be the Blackbeak coven that has children with the Valg." And the rest of her coven are like, especially her cousin Astrid is like, "No, this is wrong. Like, this is wrong." But
Disgusting.
It's disgusting, yeah. And there's a moment where Dorian happens to be present when the king kind of, he's bringing his court around and whatever. And Dorian is there, and he has this moment of clarity. And he looks at Manon, and he asks Manon if she would kill him. And I felt so bad for him in that moment because, I mean, I felt bad for any of the men that had a moment of clarity because, they're like being tortured by these evil demons that look ugly. And, I mean, they look like straight up nightmarish. So, yeah, I don't know.
I don't feel bad for him. Fuck him.
Well, I mean, I feel bad for Dorian is who I feel bad for. But basically,
Was that before or after he asked Manon if she would fuck?
I don't remember. I think that was...
Because here in this highlight, I have Dorian asks if Manon wants to fuck to try to get her to kill her. Wait, to kill who? My notes are
His
awful.
notes are awful, guys. Like, seriously, what even is this?
I always am like, I'm definitely going to know what I'm saying later. This is obvious.
Disgrace.
Why didn't I write more about Dorian asking Manon if she wanted to fuck? That's important. Why didn't I write more about that? That's a lot.
You're getting that confused because what I remember is him like.
No, I think that really happened. He definitely came on to her.
He liked
the Valg did, not him, but like
the
you
Valg
know.
did, and I think Manon. Obviously, Manon knew. She was like, no, honey, nope.
Right.
So then I want to get to the Selena Manon fight scene because this was actually one of my favorite parts of this entire book.
Finally,
we're getting to the climax of the novel.
We're climaxing.
Oh my God, shut up.
Shut up.
Okay, so do you want to get us started in the Selena Manon fight? Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. All I have written about this is that they're fighting, but she feels bad about Manon, so she saves her. By she, I mean Selena. Yeah. Selena was like, you know what? This bitch I ate. And then the temple crumbles? Why? Nobody knows. Rowan's elbow gets stabbed.
Yeah, poor Rowan. He gets stabbed in the fight scene.
And then, like, I guess Manon let them get away.
Mm-hmm.
And then lied about killing them all.
Yep. She goes back to the king and is like, oh, yep, I killed Kale, and I killed Selena, and I killed them all. The whole party's dead. Goodbye.
Honestly, that seems fair to have been a decision that she would make.
Mm-hmm. I liked it because it showed her character development because she could have been like, nope, they all got away. I'm sorry, I screwed up. But no.
Changing alliances.
Yeah, you can tell the alliance with her is definitely shifting. And I think that that's going to play more into the last 3 books is we're going to continue to see her alliance shift and grow, which I like.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Oh, go ahead. What did you want to bring up next?
No, I was looking at underneath the next highlight because I don't think we need to go through that.
Yeah, there's a
bit about the Nezrin backstory.
That no one cares about because,
no one cares about the Nezrin. I didn't even write what it was, just that she was crying, and I was like,
remember.
Nezrin wouldn't cry. This is not a thing. What the fuck is this character?
That's the other thing. Again, I think because she doesn't really know who these characters are, none of their actions seem genuine.
Well, at least this one was not. I was like, wait, at first I thought it was sort of a cool, like, I'm not, connecting too hard, like, I'm just vibing, I'm an independent bitch, and then it's like, and we're like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's not, like, it, but it doesn't seem to be intense enough to have warranted sudden emotions out of this person.
Mm-hmm. So,
okay, so I'm like laughing because after that, the note that I have is a third Aelin striptease. Incredible. I'm so bored.
Yeah, it just, again, I'm not saying that there needs to be like a full blown smut sex scene on the page.
I'm here for good smut.
But it's, again, I don't even know that I necessarily like the idea of Selena and Rowan being together because to me it seems like
he's
old. No, it's not that actually. For me, it's the fact that I feel like he is pledging allegiance to her very blindly. Like, oh, you're the queen, and
that's true.
We've been in some tussles together, and you saved me from being pledged to that other queen, and I pledged my life to you. in reward to you. So I don't even feel like it's we were in love and that's why we're together.
Right,
no,
it almost feels like he's the one who's been coerced, actually. Like,
yeah, I don't like it.
But then he's also like the dom, sort of.
Yeah, like I don't like it. I like Rowan as a character. He's actually probably one of my other favorite characters. But I don't like him and Selena together. I don't.
It was
I don't
funny
like it.
because I was like, he
it.
said, "Why would he say you deserve some?" No, because like he said, "Aelin, you deserve someone better than me." And I'm asking, since when is this man ever humble? And then I also said, now they can bang while crying.
Oh god!
How in character of two
How
angry elf monster people crying. Clearly that is the nature of an elf.
Oh lord.
Is not elf. They're not elves. They're fae. I keep saying elf. I'm sorry,
well,
everyone in the world.
I mean elf, fae. I mean that's kind of interchangeable to me personally. Anyway.
We were at the banging while crying. Somewhere that we get back to the tower still trying to come down. I thought we were done with that plan, but I guess not. They're still doing it.
Yes, and there comes the most important part of this showdown is that we have the showdown that happens with the king. We have Kale, or Cal, or however you say it. And we have Aelin, of course. And we have Prince Dorian, who is still being possessed by the Valg.
Still.
And then there comes this showdown between the king and Kale and Aelin trying to save Rowan. And something that I found...
Wait, what were they saving Rowan from again?
I mean, not Rowan, excuse me. They're saving Dorian.
Okay.
Excuse me, sorry. So we have Prince Dorian, who they are trying to save from the Valg. Like, they're both talking to him and trying to get him to come back to himself, basically. Like, they're both kind of talking about Sorsha, and she's, like, saying, look, I'm sorry about what happened to her. Sorsha is the healer that died in the last book, that was brutally killed, and that Dorian loved. And
right, his new what was it? Rebound relationship trying to get over Selena also got killed. So isn't that fun for him? And now he can't even be sad about it because he's possessed by a demon guy, but actually he can be sad about it.
Yeah,
and we keep seeing him be sad about it through the eyes of this demon guy. So I'm kind of wondering, like, do you really become a vegetable or not?
Yeah, it's like they have some moments.
Getting mixed messages about that.
Well, they have some moments of clarity, but the Valg take over, basically.
How much you want to bet the moments of clarity are when they're being tortured?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. But anyway.
Everything in the world is fucked up!
So, anyway. So we have this showdown going down. And Kale sacrifices himself. And he kind of takes a blade, basically, for Dorian. Because he's trying to save Dorian. But then... excuse me. But then they finally get through to Dorian. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that Dorian and Aelin again use their magic together. Like we have Aedion and Rowan fighting together in another place. And they finally free magic. And when they free magic, Dorian and Aelin are able to, obviously, use their magic and defeat the king, is what happens.
God, I don't remember any of this. Why don't I remember any of this? I read that damn thing.
Well, I think like I'm trying to give the Cliff Notes version of what happened here, but those are kind of like
that's good.
Those
That's
are
good.
like
You should.
Those
That's
are like the
important.
main points here that you guys really need to know. That we have Kale, we have Dorian and Aelin's magic that intertwines and is really strong.
Doesn't Kale sacrifice himself?
He does, but then Kale doesn't die. We all think that he's dead, but he's not dead.
I was going to be very, very angry if he had died for real. I was going to have a bitch fit.
Yes. And then the other... Okay. See, I will say this about the book, okay? Because we have like one last little major thing that happens here in this book. But, you know, honestly, this series, if she had just cleaned it up a little bit, honestly, this series could have ended right here at book 4. Honestly.
That's what I said. I was like, this is it.
Because like
be done.
Because they defeat the king.
Please be done.
They kill the king. But then it's like
that's literally the objective.
Yes. But then it's like we find out that the king also was being possessed and he didn't really mean what he was doing.
Oh, he wasn't the real daddy.
But in my opinion, I think the king was sorry. I think he was frickin' lying. That's my take on it. I think
sounds fake.
Yeah. To me, I was like, yeah, sure. No.
Yeah, whatever.
So basically...
Kill you just in case.
Basically, Duke Parrington, who we all know as the creep who keeps, like, being disgusting towards women, and he's just, like, from book 1 has just been a creep and mean to women and kind of the king's little right-hand man. So what you find out is that Duke Parrington actually... is like another A name. Erwin.
He's the real baddie.
He's the real baddie. Basically, that he is like the Valg, like
he's
the head.
The puppet master.
The head evil king, basically. And then...
Boo.
So basically, to wrap all this up.
Can I laugh? Can we all laugh about the fact that Dorian escaped because the ring he wore sliced through the fucking choker?
Sorry. Yes.
The notes I have are dumb as fuck, stupid, bad, dumb.
Okay, so then...
I hated it. 0 out of 10.
This happens, and then basically what happens... Kind of, do we want to wrap this up with where we end up with each little group?
Okay, so the series ends basically with Aelin hostile takeover. She's like, we killed the king, so LOL, I'm the new queen, FYI. Robin's dead. She's like, I own all that, by the way. Also, I faked it in my own will, so I stole his property, and we're supposed to be like, yeah, good job, bitch, that's what you needed to do. Because it was all sort of stolen in the first place, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But also, this is, like, kind of fucked up also, so I'm not like, yeah, you were obviously the good guy there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, literally the area around the property that Robin has, she goes out there and is just, like, to the peasants. Like, oh, if you don't like that your new leader is Lysandra, then I'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, what? Like, this is... You're supposed to be the one to free people from that kind of bullshit. You're just another...
It's like...
Another of the king, actually,
right.
It turns out.
It's like you're just kind of... yeah.
That's like... This isn't...
It's very questionable.
Any better, actually, than what they had. These peasants don't give a fuck. They just want food.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just gonna sit around here threatening them with death some more like they already had? Boo, bitch. Like, no, I don't think you should get the throne. I think you are a psychopath. No, I don't think you're a good leader. I think you're batshit.
Sorry.
So that's how I really feel. And then there's, like, the Alid weird, like...
Yeah.
Rape fantasy impregnating with
the Valg, yeah.
Valg, and then they're like
they save
force washing her.
But they save her from that though. Like that doesn't happen because
well, exactly. No, but here's what's dumb is it's because Manon comes to save her and murders them. And, like, laughs maniacally and rips their spines out and is like... and it's like, okay there. And my notes were, what did you slow cook them that doesn't just happen? That the spine just comes out of your body like a fucking fish fillet.
It's not funny, not guys. Thing. I'm sorry.
No, it's literally... It is funny because it's like, this is fucking stupid. So anyway... So, this bitch doesn't find... Wait, they didn't find a lead? They ripped out the spines and they still didn't find a lead.
So, basically, the witches... Manon decides, okay, I'm getting my coven out of here. I don't care. We're not doing this. Screw this. We are witches. And basically, she's like, we are badasses and we're getting out of here. And then when the king dies, they feel like, okay, and we're leaving now. They're like, and we're going.
Okay, this whole thing annoys the shit out of me. This weird, like, bring Kaltane in and weave it with the... I'm like, oh my...
So basically, Kaltane... Basically, she sacrifices herself. Like, she's like, I'll create a distraction, basically. And the witches get away. They get a lead, and they get her away.
Okay, my question is, why would Kaltane sacrifice herself?
Yeah, that was another thing.
Why? There was no reason.
Sense.
That was not...
Mm-hmm. It didn't make sense. The only thing that I could say about that is that, okay, she was so miserable and used, and she...
Yeah, I mean, again, that's more of this thing that, is another thing I wanted to mention, is this weird, like... It feels like an ableist viewpoint to me, that, like, if you lose... something about the life you live currently, you would hate being alive so much that you might as well be dead.
That you'll sacrifice yourself to get out of living.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of an odd
Kaltane was
take.
Miserable enough doing whatever she was doing that she would want to be dead, which is not unreasonable. And I'm not saying just based on the Kaltane thing. That statement about the ableism is based on other shit that I wanted to talk about, where it was like the very end of the book, and Rowan is like disabled.
Yeah, like Rowan,
because he's wounded.
But
they're like all
wounded. Well, the person who's really disabled is Kale.
Yeah, and then that too. Oh, and there's So I'm just gonna talk about all the healing shit. Because, basically, they do end up saving a lead, and what happens at the end of the lead story?
Basically, the witches get away, and then they get to, like, a certain point, like, they travel for several miles, and then what Manon says to a lead is that now you're free, and you can go wherever you want. Basically, she's like... Here you go. You're free. Be free. And I think there's like a moment where Lead's like, oh, you're not coming with me. But then she realizes like, you're free and you can go do whatever you want. Like you can go. Which I kind of liked. So I know we'll probably be seeing all of these characters again. I'm interested to see where a Lead ends up. So that is one part I'm actually looking forward to. So we will see. And then, like I said, the witches are free now as well. They're not under the king's control anymore. So they also.
But wait. One thing about the witches being free.
Well, I mean,
I have in my notes that, like, actually Selena killed, like, all of the witches that were in the one, like, Morath area.
Well, I'm talking specifically Manon's clan is free. Manon gets the hell out of there. And the other witches, that were down below in the creepy dungeon area being with the Valgs, basically what happened,
literally the ones that were tortured.
They all die because they set the place on fire and they get the hell out of there. But what they say is that my take on that was that the witch coven that had been with the Valg doing unspeakable things were no longer recognizable as themselves, is how I personally took that. Based on the glimpses that we get through Alid's eyes and through Manon's. That is how I took that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I would rather not be murdered in a fire, even if I had been through a very traumatic experience. Yeah. But that's just personal. I think I have a right to be alive, even if something horrible happens to me.
So, that's our take on that.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. And then, what we have... So, basically, that's Manon and Alid's wrap-up from this particular book. That's kind of where we end with them.
Yeah, and then Selena healed herself too quickly, had a bunch of glass stuck in the shit, and then, I don't know.
Like, basically, they had to, like...
There was some laughing at each other, not being able to do shit, and then I laughed. Wait, can we talk about how funny it was that Lysandra was like, I want love like that? About Rowan. Like, Lysandra was, like, talking to Adie and was like, I wish I had love like that.
Oh, yeah, I remember
about Selena and Rowan, and I was
I remember that, because I was like, I want a love that's like, girl, I don't know how to feel about that, but anyway.
Unconvinced. Yeah, so, honestly,
Yes,
that's
and then what we end up with is that, we have kind of this split happen at the end. So what we have is Harrington, they know, is going to go to war with them. We have Dorian kind of deciding, okay, I'm going to be... He's like supportive of them, but he's also going to be in his castle kind of rebuilding everything that has gone to hell. And then we have this kind of split going on. We have Cal and Nezrin that are kind of going together in one direction to try and get some forces for the upcoming war. And then, of course, we have Rowan and Aelin, who are also building forces for the upcoming war, but they're both sets of people are all kind of doing their own paths. Does that make sense? They're splitting.
All the couples
anyway, guys, so this is kind of where we end up here. We know that they're going to have to fight Duke Barrington, and there's three.
I don't want to read the other two books that I have.
Okay, on that note, we did want to bring up.
I will never get
we
back
are taking a pause on the Throne of Glass series. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of a palate cleanser, and we are going to be reading a series of, it's actually a duo. It's a duology, if you will, coming up here. Yeah, it is. It has been a fun read, so we're happy to bring those to you.
Yeah, we will link to those books in the description.
We'll link stuff below. And that is the end of our podcast for today.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for the end of Queen of Glass. I almost said Queen of Glass. I'm
Sorry. Goodbye, everybody.
Whatever. Anyway, goodbye.